Hello, welcome back to the bAmplified podcast. I'm Amy Patee, the show host. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. And if you're brand new here, this is a podcast for conscious female entrepreneurs who want to let their most natural, brilliant energy lead in their business. And they want to amplify who they are, amplify their presence, their offerings, their business as a whole, so that they can really receive the success that they deserve. So thanks for being here. And if that resonates with you, please subscribe and join us for this journey. So over the last couple of weeks, I have been sharing more on strategy, really simple strategies, simple things that you can do in your business to meet the moment, because we are living through some crazy times here on the planet. It is chaotic, it is messy, and it's transformative. Energy is moving quickly. And in human design, there's a reason for all of this. We are in the midst of shifting eras. And to just give you some context, an era lasts a long time. So the last era, or I should say the current era that we are in, is called the cross of planning. And we've been in it for over 400 years. And this era has been all about building social structures and institutions that support collective living and cooperation. Think highways and schools, hospitals, government, police, utilities, towns. Those are the social structures that the cross of planning has helped us create and build. And a lot of good came from this era. But it also has led us to rely heavily on outer authority. And what's coming is radically different. So we are moving into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, otherwise known as the cross of the individual. And as we move into this new era, we are going to be seeing a rise in individual empowerment. People are going to become emotionally and spiritually much more aware and rely upon their inner authority instead of outer authority. So this new era, which will be officially entering in February of 2027, but we are already feeling it. It is moving towards us, and the old era, the energy of the old era is starting to flow away from us. And that's why there are some structures that are beginning to crumble. Right? Or there's a sense of them crumbling, or a sense of them really needing to be transformed to support what's coming, to support what people need next in this new era. So what I see is that in the new era, entrepreneurialism is what it's all about, because people are going to be more in tune with themselves and more aligned with their own purpose, their own magic, their own medicine, what they're here to do. And they're going to want to do it, right? So if we continue to live in a world where we need to work and we need to make money, and I say if because I don't know, the world is changing so quickly. Who knows what's coming down the line entirely? But if we have to continue to work and make money, and even if we didn't have to continue to work and make money, there is still going to be this desire arising in people to be in touch with their inner magic. And they're going to want to do something with that. So if you are already a conscious entrepreneur, you're ahead of the game. And if you are a coach or some type of guide, your gifts are really needed right now, because there is going to be an influx of people wanting to figure out what's next. Oh my gosh, I lost my job. What's next for me? I've actually always really wanted to do this. I've always felt that I was supposed to do this, but I had to get a job and pay the bills. And yes, they'll probably still have to pay the bills, but there is going to be more opportunity, more openness to doing things differently, to different types of careers, different types of work. And COVID, in a way, opened up this opportunity for us where people started to work remote. People started to work from home. People realized there's another way. I don't have to dedicate so much time to this job, right? I can work from home and start to align more with myself, make my own food, take breaks during the day to exercise or go on walks, not have to sit in rush hour for hours. There's this opening, right, that came through the COVID lockdown that supported this energy that is coming in with the new era, where people got a chance to slow down and reflect and feel into a different way of doing things for themselves. So, with all of that said, I just wanted to give that little bit of background, a little bit of context around this change that we are moving through from a human design perspective. But essentially, the takeaway is that people are going to be waking up at a much deeper level to who they really are and to their own frequency, their own energy, and like I said, their own magic. And in this new era, big box business models are dying, right? These big structures that serve the masses are crumbling. And instead, small, intimate containers are going to be rising, I think, at least. Now, that's not to say that all of these big business models are going to go away instantly. That's not really the case, but we might see less and less. And slowly we'll be seeing more and more of these smaller businesses, the rise of the consultant, right? The rise of the independent contractor, and this necessity to cultivate more intimacy with your clients and customers, more connection, heart-based connection with your customers. All of that's going to become more relevant because people are seeking resonance now. People are going to be seeking a felt sense of connection with who they work with and what they purchase, right? They want to feel a deeper alignment with it. That's all part of this energy of the new era. And that actually leads me to what I wanted to really focus on in today's episode. And this is that going small is the new big. Scaling in instead of scaling out is the new way. So for years, especially in the wellness and conscious business space, we have been told that we need to scale to be successful. We have to go bigger. We have to go wider. We have to be louder. We have to create more content. We have to reach more clients and followers and get more subscribers to be successful, right? We have to scale. And yes, on some level, I agree with this. If you can take what you do with one person and share it with many, it can be a really powerful and also a quick way to make more money and to have a bigger impact. But to align ourselves with this new era, with the frequency, the energy of the new era, we have to understand that these big box methods of talking to the masses may not work because in the new era, depth, resonance, connection is going to be prioritized, is going to be desired. And so thinking small rather than big is going to serve you and your business and your success moving forward. And this doesn't mean that you're not going to scale. This doesn't mean that you're not going to make more money. It just means that we need to think smaller. Think in terms of the human, the individual that we are serving, and to really zoom in on them and what they need and how we can cultivate a connection with them, resonance with them. Because I think sometimes if we are under this belief that we need to scale to be successful, we almost in a way overlook the individual and we move right into more of the collective vibe or the scalability of the offer or the program or the product, whatever it is that we're creating for the masses. And we need to pull back and scale in and zoom in on the individual and really make sure that whatever we are doing, whatever we're creating is going to serve them, because people are increasingly going to be looking for that sense of connection. Even if it's not with you directly, it could just be with your product, the product that you're selling, but they're going to be looking for this sense of resonance, of internal truth, where their authority coming from inside of them says, yes, this is right for me. And you're going to trigger that in other people by acknowledging it, thinking about it, bringing it into your process in your business. Let me give you some steps to explore to help you start aligning your business with this new frequency, to help you begin reframing this idea of scaling and to think smaller instead of bigger. Okay, so the first step is really to take a pause. I always recommend this, and to ask yourself, what's aligned for me right now? Because everything is changing so quickly across the planet right now. It's important to take pauses, and especially if you're in business for yourself, once a week, once a month for sure, to take a pause and do a little audit and ask yourself, what's aligned for me right now? So we always want to start from that place. And that is really the frequency that we are stepping into. That's the frequency of the new era, the era of the individual. You need to tune into yourself and to check that you're aligned first. Are you connected to what you're offering? Does it feel aligned? Do you have resonance with it? Human design provides an amazing blueprint to support you in this process. So if you tune into your business and you're like, I'm not sure, I don't know, is this aligned? I mean, I think it feels good, but that's kind of old. I should probably let go of that. This feels okay. If you're in a little bit of a fog about what's aligned and what's not for you right now in your business, human design can give you a blueprint. It is like a lighthouse helping guide you back to what is aligned. How are you naturally designed to operate? And how can you lean into that and then create structures and systems and offers in your business that really reflect that really flow with your natural energy. So if you haven't already, there's a link in the show notes to download your free human design chart, and you can start with that, because it's, like I said, a beautiful blueprint to help us understand what's aligned and what's not for us. How do we do business best? Our human design can show us that, and it's pretty amazing. Okay, so that's step one, just figuring out, okay, right now in my own world, in my own business, what's aligned? And then the second thing to think about, to consider, and to do is to think small, to start small. So I already talked about this, but this is where you are going to bring your focus, your attention back to the individual that you serve. You're going to zoom in, you're going to get hyper specific so that you understand your people, your customers, your ideal clients, and you can begin speaking directly to them. And part of this reframe, part of this refocusing on the small instead of the big means it's okay if you don't have 10,000 followers, right? Maybe you only have 300, maybe you only have 50. Great. Ensure that those 50 are the right 50. Speak to them clearly. Make sure they are your people, because you're delivering a correct message about what you do that aligns with them. So this again is about focusing small and getting really aligned and hyper specific about what you do, who you serve, so that your message is clear. And instead of having 10,000 followers who like a little bit of what you say, you have maybe 50 that want what you have to say. They deeply resonate with it. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I'll give you an example. I recently launched my Inner Circle email. By the way, if you want to get on this list, if you want to subscribe, you can do so following the link in the show notes. But I created this list because I have this large email list. And I have been an entrepreneur for over 25 years, and there are people on this list who got on this list way back in the day when I was exclusively teaching yoga. I don't teach yoga right now. I'm still a yoga teacher. I still consider myself a yoga teacher, but I'm not teaching regular yoga classes. But there are people still on my list who open my email who did yoga with me way back in the day, but they are not entrepreneurs necessarily. And I found that I was sending out these emails about what I'm doing currently in my business, focusing on human design, focusing on entrepreneurialism, women in business. And I was diluting my message. I was diluting it because I knew all of these people were reading it that likely didn't really want that information, knowing that the information probably wasn't going to apply to them. And so I created this exclusive list, which is way smaller right now. I just started it, but it's way smaller than the size of my general list. But I can now speak so much more specifically because I know the people who opted into this Inner Circle list are soulful entrepreneurs who want my message. They want to receive an email from me every week. And I just sent out the first email, and the open rate is amazing because they signed up to be on this list. They want that information. Whereas the open rate on my general list was good, but nothing compared to what I just got on this recent Inner Circle email. So start small. Don't be scared to actually zero in and have less followers, less people, but people who are more invested in what you have to offer. All right? Okay, so that's the second step. Go small. The third step is to prioritize connection. And going small really can allow that to happen more and more. So in my Inner Circle email list, I feel like I am speaking directly to these people. I feel more connected to them. And they likely are feeling that on the other side as well. So when we go smaller, we can really more easily prioritize connection. You can begin to create small little ways to have touch points with your people. And those points of contact can be potent, they can be powerful, and they can actually build a sense of trust and connection with your client or your potential client that lets them take the next step with you, that leads them to that next step of working with you, buying from you, and becoming really a loyal customer. And I'll give you another example. So my Genius Bloom report and mini online course is one of the main ways that I bring new leads into my business. So I have a mini Genius Bloom report, which again, links are in the show notes if you want to check these out. And then I have a full Genius Bloom report. So the mini is free. And then the full Genius Bloom report is a low-cost entry point, and they get this much more lengthy report that is personalized to them. So this product is serving the masses, right? Anybody can come into my business and opt in to get the free report, the mini Genius Bloom report. But a way that I built in some personalized connection is that part of this Genius Bloom report and journey has a little bit of an online component. And through the online portal, especially the worksheets, they can dialogue with me. They can ask questions. They can get feedback from me. And that's a way that I can begin to cultivate deeper connection with these potential clients that come into my world. And it's fun. It's really fun for me, actually, to be able to dialogue with these strangers who have come into my world and to begin to get to know them and cultivate more intimacy with them. So that's the third step, prioritize connection. And then the fourth is to highlight the individual. So I've already been talking about this, but I'm just breaking it down here step by step. So instead of one size fits all programs, right? Those are a little bit on the way out. You have to make sure that the program the offer, the product that you're building highlights the individual, right? So you want to bring in some personalization, and spaciousness and flexibility have to be woven into your business and what you're creating to, again, accommodate the individual. So you can still scale, you can still do these group programs or offers or design a product that does, in a way, serve the masses, but you might want to tweak the foundation or the essence of that to take into consideration the individual. So this element of adaptability or flexibility could be woven into it, or you are, again, prioritizing some element with what you're building that speaks directly to the person, that helps them utilize what you're offering in a way that aligns for them, in a way that works with them and their energy. The fifth thing I recommend is creating exclusivity. So I talked about this a lot in the last episode. Go back and check that one out if you're curious and want more. But this was just the idea of, instead of being everywhere, be really intentional and curate your own sacred spaces if you want. Curate the privacy that you want, the boundaries that you crave. And it can be online or it can be in person. And it's okay if, when you step back from being everywhere and being out there, let's say on social media, and you begin to pull back and create a little bit more exclusiveness in what you're doing and sharing and offering, at first you might have less people with you, but those people are more aligned. They're choosing to be there with you. You can think back to what I shared about my email list, but it can be a good thing to have less people, to have a smaller group of people who are there and fully invested versus having a big group of people and 90% of them aren't really invested. They're not really wanting to go deeper with you. They're not ever going to actually become a paying customer. And this all, again, aligns with the new era, right? People are going to be looking for the community, the group, the person, the product, the guide that they deeply resonate with, feel alignment with, and connection with. Okay, so your exclusive groups or containers might be exactly what is needed. And then the last thing is that you can scale out after you've scaled it. So move through all of those steps that I just shared with you because they help you scale in, they help you think smaller instead of bigger. And then after you've implemented those and you've really built a solid, soulful foundation that's aligned with this new frequency that's coming in right now, you can then scale out. As you go deeper with the right clients, you will naturally build momentum and expansion will naturally follow. But you're doing so, you're scaling out, you're growing bigger from this deeply grounded, soulful foundation that you've cultivated by thinking smaller instead of bigger. Okay, so let me just say those 6 steps once more. And again, these are steps to help you align with the new frequency and steps to help you think smaller instead of bigger, to reframe this idea of scaling so that you can lay a solid foundation and move with the energy that is flowing into the planet and into each individual right now on the planet. First step, ask what's aligned for you. Second step, start small, zoom in. Focus on the individual instead of the collective or the group that you're serving. Get really clear on the person. Step 3, prioritize connection. How can you connect to that one person? One person at a time. How can you connect to them? If you're building something and your aim is to not have to show up at all, to put it on autopilot and just have it work for you without you being present, sure, give it a try. See how that works for you. And in some cases it might, because we're not fully into the new era yet, but that model is going to be less and less desirable moving forward. The fourth thing is to highlight the individual, right? Letting go again of one-size-fits-all programs. The fifth step is to create exclusiveness. You don't have to be everywhere. You can actually be really intentional about where you choose to show up, and you can even create your own sacred spaces, private spaces with boundaries. And these spaces may have less people in them, at least at first, but they will be people who choose to be there, people who resonate with you and want what you have to offer. And then the last thing is to scale out, but only after you've scaled in. So, scaling in, starting small, thinking small helps you build a really solid foundation for the new era. And as you go deeper with the right people, you will naturally then be ready to scale out and to grow bigger. So I hope that all lands with you, for you, and can support you in your business and just help you reframe how you're thinking about what you're doing in your business right now. And I would love to hear. So if you want to DM me on Instagram or send me an email through my website, please do so. I love connecting with other entrepreneurs and hearing about what's working for you. And just curious if any of this landed for you today. And then again, check out the links in the show notes. Grab your free human design chart if you haven't already. If you're curious about human design and you want to dive a little deeper, I would start with the Genius Bloom report and online course. It's only $27 and you get a 64-page personalized report walking you through key elements of your human design and how to begin aligning them in your business so that you can really tap into your flow and you can really design or reimagine or refine your own business to work with your natural energy. So check that out. And there's lots of other ways for us to work together. It's all down there below. And a reminder, if you want to receive email insights from me, get on my Inner Circle email list. It's brand new. I've only sent out one email so far, and you can subscribe in the show notes as well. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. This was a long episode today, but I hope that what I shared was food for thought and really has your wheels turning and thinking about how you can start to do things a little differently in your business to set you up for success moving forward during this crazy time on the planet. Thanks again for being here, and I'll catch you next week.